Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gamansing. Yesterday, Governor John de Jongh met with senators to discuss their position on the Fourth Amendment Hovensa agreement. The meeting lasted for several hours, and News 2's Shanika Robinson has the details.
Yesterday, Governor John de Jongh met with senators for several hours to discuss the Senate's position on the Hovensa agreement.
We had a very productive meeting. Every senator had an opportunity to express their concerns with one or more parts of the agreement and to make recommendations and to answer questions the governor may have about some of the concerns raised by the Senate.
This special meeting was called due to the senators rejecting the Fourth Amendment agreement between the government and Hovensa on August 7th.
We should agree to that the concerns raised, that the governor will take those back to Hovensa for their consideration. So it appears as though the company is interested in talking with the government again regarding the current proposal.
Even though Hovensa representatives are willing to meet with the governor once more, it is not certain that they are willing to reopen the agreement.
It was expressed though that they're not probably inclined to reopen the agreement, but will be interested in tightening the language and for some clarification of some of the clauses and justifications, more importantly, as far as I'm concerned, for why we have conceded on some of these areas in the agreement.
Now the senators will play the waiting game and see what's the outcome of the governor's meeting with Hovensa in order to move forward.
A lot of clarification was provided, but now we're asking the governor simply to take these back to Hovensa and see what they're willing to agree to. And after that point, then the governor would sit with the senators again to look at what was agreed to, or give us an update rather, at his meetings with them. And hopefully after that point, we will see an improved agreement.
Yesterday, Governor John de Jongh met with senators for several hours to discuss the Senate's position on the Hovensa agreement.
We had a very productive meeting. Every senator had an opportunity to express their concerns with one or more parts of the agreement and to make recommendations and to answer questions the governor may have about some of the concerns raised by the Senate.
This special meeting was called due to the senators rejecting the Fourth Amendment agreement between the government and Hovensa on August 7th.
We should agree to that the concerns raised, that the governor will take those back to Hovensa for their consideration. So it appears as though the company is interested in talking with the government again regarding the current proposal.
Even though Hovensa representatives are willing to meet with the governor once more, it is not certain that they are willing to reopen the agreement.
It was expressed though that they're not probably inclined to reopen the agreement, but will be interested in tightening the language and for some clarification of some of the clauses and justifications, more importantly, as far as I'm concerned, for why we have conceded on some of these areas in the agreement.
Now the senators will play the waiting game and see what's the outcome of the governor's meeting with Hovensa in order to move forward.
A lot of clarification was provided, but now we're asking the governor simply to take these back to Hovensa and see what they're willing to agree to. And after that point, then the governor will sit with the senators again to look at what was agreed to, or give us an update rather, at his meetings with them. And hopefully after that point, we will see an improved agreement. And then hopefully the Senate can reconsider something or consider a better improved agreement so that we can move forward with the sale of the refinery.
Shanika Robinson, News 2.
Be sure to count on News 2 to keep you updated. Governor John P. de Jongh and members of his cabinet met with the hospitality industry officials Saturday at Government House on St. Croix to discuss the effects of the total shutdown of Hovensa refinery. Meanwhile, this was an opportunity for the governor to hear the concerns that range from the lingering negative effect on the economy and the hospitality industry, the adverse impact a supply of jet fuel can have on the island's airlift, which they predict will also have an effect on demand for hotel rooms. Well, a few days ago, de Jongh said he shared the concerns of the aviation industry on St. Croix that air traffic to the island can be jeopardized by the refinery shutdown. Detectives on St. Croix arrested 41-year-old Paul Julius Nagy at the Rolston Airport on August 30th as he was about to leave the island. Nagy is identified as the person who sold internet connection equipment belonging to Innovative Company to Francis Metal Works. The California native recently worked for a company contracted by Innovative to install internet equipment on St. Croix.
On August 29th, police and several other law enforcement agencies raided several scrap metal yards. Francis Metal Works was the last facility that law enforcement checked, and it was there that police discovered several stolen items, including more than $3,000 in electrical equipment. The equipment was subsequently positively identified as belonging to the Innovative company. During the investigation into the thefts, police viewed video surveillance footage which showed Nagy bringing and unloading Innovative equipment at Francis Metal. Nagy was driving an Innovative pickup truck at the time. Nagy was charged with grand larceny and held on a $35,000 bail.
WAPA has scheduled a road closure for Thursday, September 5th in the Four Winds Plaza area on St. Thomas to install water lines from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. Both the north and southbound lanes of the roadway from the Splash and Dash Car Wash to Tillett Gardens will be closed to traffic. Motorists can use alternate routes through Four Winds Plaza or New Tutu and are asked to observe signs and flaggers, directions. The work is part of the authority's meter installation and upgrades project and is subsidized by internal capital improvement funds. The authority apologizes for any inconvenience caused by this road closure. Well, after a two-day trial in district court on St. Thomas, a federal jury convicted Rodney E. Miller, Sr., 41, of causing and aiding and assisting in the preparation of his personal individual income tax return, Form 1040, for calendar year 2006. United States Attorney Ronald Sharp, Internal Revenue Service Special Agent in Charge Michael DePalma, and Internal Revenue Service Head of the Special Enforcement Program Terry Travers announced today. According to the evidence that was presented in trial, in 2007, Miller willfully filed his income tax return for the tax year 2006, knowing that it was false and fraudulent as to a material matter. Specifically, Miller reported total income in the amount of $265,198,000, whereas he then and there knew and believed that his true total income was $510,947,000. Miller faces a maximum penalty of 3 years in prison, a maximum fine of $250,000, and a special assessment of $100. Sentencing is scheduled for December 5th, 2013. Well, today, Cruisenville Limited presented the University of the Virgin Islands with a check in the amount of $40,000 to support UVI scholarships. This year's gift brings the total Cruisen has donated since 1987 to $735,000.
We started this at $25,000 a year scholarship. In 2010, we increased that to $40,000, which is what we contributed again today. We know how important it is to the islands and to the future of both this generation and the next generation to come. So we're just very happy to be here today and have Dr. Hall with us and to be able to continue to contribute even during these very hard times.
We are just very thankful for Cruisen Rum's commitment to our students and to the university. This gift has allowed us in the past to make scholarships available for not only undergraduate students but graduate students. This past year we were able to award scholarships to 3 undergraduates, 2 graduate students.
The executive director of the St. Croix Environmental Association has resigned after 6 years. Paul Shecroff will, however, continue to serve C and the community as a consultant in areas of habitat conservation, sustainable natural resource development, environmental impact assessment, and mitigation and environmental mediation. Board members and Shecroff decided that it is in the best interest of the organization for Shecroff to resign and work with C on a consultancy basis for special projects and programs because of funding. They say as a result of the poor economy, they found it difficult to raise funds to support 4 staff positions. Turn our attention stateside. President Obama is overseas but continues to push Congress to authorize a military strike against Syria. Some key lawmakers support the use of force, but it appears many Americans remain skeptical. Danielle Nottingham has the latest from Capitol Hill.
During a visit to Sweden, President Obama pressed his case for military action against Syrian leader Bashar Assad.
We believe very strongly, with high confidence, that in fact chemical weapons were used and that Mr. Assad was the source.
But the president faces a skeptical nation back home. A new Pew Research poll shows only 29% of Americans support airstrikes against Syria. 48% oppose them. The president is pushing Congress to authorize the use of force, but many lawmakers are against giving the commander-in-chief a blank check to wage war. Secretary of State John Kerry, who's leading the effort to get Congress on board, took his case to the House. He was greeted with skepticism from many lawmakers and from protesters who painted their hands red.
Let me be clear. We are not asking America to go to war.
The Senate is considering a resolution that would allow military action, but it bars the use of ground troops and limits the campaign to 90 days. But some lawmakers, including John McCain, want more than a missile strike to make sure Assad never uses chemical weapons again.
Keeping our eye on the economy, Americans were busy buying cars in August. Nearly every automaker, including General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler, are reporting double-digit sales gains. The new Apple iPhone is coming, actually 2 of them. Invitations have gone out for Apple's September 10th event. The company is expected to unveil 2 new models, the iPhone 5C and budget iPhone. And Jay-Z is selling half of his 1/15% stake in the NBA team to new coach and former player Jason Kidd for about $500,000. The other half of Jay-Z's share of the team was bought by an existing owner of the team. Jay-Z was reportedly forced to sell his Nets shares because of a conflict of interest after he started his own sports agency. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank Stock Market Watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all up. The Dow 96, Nasdaq 36, S&P 13. Coming up on News 2, more than 40 artists from the VI, BVI, Atlanta, Jamaica, and more came together on one stage to join together in unity during a peace concert over the weekend. Plus, remember those cannons discovered on St. John buried in the shorelines at the Cruise Bay Beach? Well, an update on the historical value from the Historic State Preservation Office. We'll be right back. Well, you may remember on August 19th, we reported about some cannons that were discovered buried in the shoreline on Cruise Bay Beach by a cleaning crew from the Virgin Islands Department of Public Works. Well, local historian David Knight, who recently completed a historic background study on the town of Cruise Bay for DPNR's Virgin Islands State Historic Preservation Office, says that the cannons may have come from the Coral Bay fortification after it was decommissioned in 1765. The cannons and ammunition were brought to Cruise Bay from the old fortress in Coral Bay and placed on a crude earthwork on the beach while plans were worked out for the new fort. However, the decision to locate the new fort on Cruise Bay town's shoreline took longer than expected, and the cannons, being exposed to salt, air, dampness, quickly rusted and became unserviceable once the new fort was built in Cruise Bay. The temporary earthwork that held the cannons were removed and the cannons relocated. At this point, it is not clear what all transpired with the cannons. However, one was used as the bollard on the land side of the Cruise Bay dock for several decades. The other 3 cannons, with the passage of time, were set aside and forgotten until their recent discoveries. Well, meanwhile, DPNR is calling for nominations for its 2013 Virgin Islands Coastal Zone Management Program Awareness Award. This award is open to individuals, private organizations, schools, and government agencies from the entire territory except for DPNR employees and their families. Individuals, organizations, and schools cannot nominate themselves, but may be nominated by others. Here are the categories. It includes Coastal Zone Person, Coastal Zone Organization, and Coastal Zone College Student of the Year Award. To obtain nomination packages, you can call 773-1082, extension 229, or you can fax your request. All nominations must be received by October 15th, 2013. Well, more than 40 artists from the VI, BVI, Atlanta, Jamaica, and more came together on one stage in St. Thomas at Crown Bay on Saturday to join together in unity. Reggae artist Pressure Bus Pipe hosted the first 12-hour peace concert at the Austin Bay Monsanto Terminal in Crown Bay, St. Thomas on Saturday. The event also included guest speakers. The aim was to promote peace and unity through music.
Too much senseless killing at the ghetto, dead and gone again. And every night we a gunshot a echo, dead and gone again. Some of the root of David get forgotten, dead and gone. I pray to John, but they saw one trap. That's what done gone, slugger done gone, the real been gone.
Let the vanity bleach you. Stay focused with your goals in life, so then your future shine bright. Take good advice as you tread on your way. Keep an open heart, read the Psalms and pray. The limit is, let me see everybody a wave. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no limitation for a young knight to rule and to build a power.
And a great time was had by all. Well, a flash flood watch remains in effect through Friday afternoon for all of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. A broad area of low pressure over the eastern Caribbean seas moving west, south of the forecast area, about 100 miles south of Humacao. It will continue to move slightly northwest around 13 miles per hour during the next 24 hours, passing south of Puerto Rico tonight. Coming up next, more from our News 2 AccuWeather forecast.